Hello, anyone who was looking up information on sv650 forks. I decided to upload this video really quick to answer a couple of questions that I came across that I didn't see any videos for. First, the damper rod bolt. So it's an 8mm hex bolt at the bottom, and it says a lot of advice is loosen it or take it out before you remove the forks from the bike. A little thing that they don't mention: in order to stop the forks from spinning in the triple clamp, whatever, um, put the fender back on or leave the fender on when you loosen the bolt. Your handlebars will turn, and when they get to steering lock, you'll be able to leverage the damper bolt loose. Keeping everything together makes it a lot easier. Here is a little tool in order to do that. If you don't, you're going to need either a long 8mm socket, specifically one that's like, you see how long the top of the L is here. You're going to want to get something that long because it's all the way up in above the axle on the fork. So you need something long. What I did is I put an 8mm crescent wrench around it, and this gave me enough leverage. They did seem pretty tight in there, but this was enough, along with, like I said, the pushing against the steering stop. So I recommend this or that. You can also use an impact wrench apparently, but I don't have one. Another thing, they say don't take it all the way out because it'll leak oil. I didn't care. I put a catch pan underneath, and yeah, it's a little messier, but this way you never have to worry about it, is it going to spin when I take it off and start taking stuff apart, etc. This way it'll be locked in and you'll be able to just drain it, and it'll drip out the bottom, and there's not that much oil in there anyways. Another thing, if you're putting in emulators like I am, a little gold valve emulator, these can be really tight, especially the lock bolt. What you're trying to do when it says 2.5 or 3 turns, when you read that, what it is you're trying to loosen this until there's play in the spring and there's no tension. And then you turn it 2.5 to 3 turns in. And a turn is a 360-degree turn, not halfway, etc. That's not half, So, this is a 2mm hex, or a hex 2.0. I don't know, I think it's 2mm, but I'm not sure. It just says 2.0H on my set. Another thing, you're going to want to drill out the damper rod. I drilled this out to 7/16, I think. 10-11 millimeters if you have a metric. And then I hit it with some sandpaper to smooth it out, blew it out with air and stuff. When it's talking about filling in the hole on top, you look at the damper rod and you're like, what the heck are they talking about? This is empty. Well, it's got some JB weld on it, so you can't really see. You might be able to see that a little bit, but that's the hole. You can either weld it, solder it, whatever you want to do. As I just said, I had JB weld. There's this little tiny hole at the top. That's what you're trying to fill in when it says fill in the rebound hole. You're gonna need spacers if you're replacing your springs like me. Anything works. These don't have a lot of pressure on them, even bouncing, whatever. The guy who sold me the springs and emulators threw in a couple of these pipes. I don't know what this is, but it seems pretty cheap. I just grabbed some washers that fit between this and the original spacer, and the springs are all shorter, so you're going to need to add length. I think that's pretty much it. Oh, if you're doing your fork seals and you don't have a fork seal driver, let me look. There, now you can see it. So I did it. I put on new dust seals. Something you can do is you can take you get your new fork seal, you seat it at the bottom of the inner fork, and you push it in. You can usually push it in by hand enough to get the little spring clip on, just so it seats. And then you can take your old fork seal and your old dust cover, and you put them on the inner fork, on top of the new fork seal, and then you take a little roll of electrical tape, wrap that around above them a little bit, and you're basically making the same thing as a fork seal driver, a slide hammer thing, and it doesn't take much force. Don't beat yourself up. And then you can just use that to seat them. That's what I did. It seemed to work just fine. These are all eBay parts, so I assume everything's fine. They all look good. And that's about it. Just some things I ran across and I didn't see any video about. I know this is 5.5 minutes. Please fast forward, and I hope if anyone comes across this, it helps them out.